You're listening to the Paul Higgins podcast for SaaS consulting partners ready to scale beyond six figures without more work or a bigger team. Let's dive in. Your clients are drowning in support tickets while their teams waste hours hunting through scattered documentation. Meanwhile, enterprise AI solutions are pricing out your SMB clients, and the existing platform options lack the flexibility to pull from all their knowledge sources, leaving you without a competitive solution to offer. Hi, I'm Paul, and welcome to episode 631 of the Paul Higgins podcast. In this episode, I talked to Aaron Edwards from DocsBot.ai. And what you're going to learn from Aaron is how to offer customer AI agents that handle 60 to 70% of your clients' support queries out of the box without the enterprise price tag that kills deals. The two main use cases driving revenue: customer support for SMBs and internal knowledge access for enterprise teams, plus how to position each, while flexibility beats platform lock-in when selling to clients, and how DocsBot pulls from Notion, Google Drive websites, and more to create your client's second brain. Aaron Edwards is building and growing DocsBot towards 1 million ARR. He's the co-founder of Infinite Uploads, acquired, and previously served as CTO of WPMU Dev. He's sharing his solopreneur journey, building and marketing an AI SaaS that's competing against tech giants by focusing on cost and flexibility, exactly what your consulting business needs. You can watch the episode at the Paul Higgins Mentoring channel on YouTube. Now, what I'll do is hand you over to Aaron from DocsBot.ai. Great to have you here, Aaron.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to get into some great use cases, but why don't you just give us a general opening of who your ideal client is and what problems you tend to solve for them?
Yeah, sure. Well, my business is called DocsBot. That's Docs like documentation robot, I guess. Basically, we solve like the problem of creating like custom AI agents that are used primarily for customer support or like internal knowledge access for teams. And so we're a B2B SaaS. I started out as a CTO for a web development company making WordPress products, and started building a lot of like just different platforms and playing with AI. And right when kind of the ChatGPT APIs and stuff came out, we were lucky to catch that initial wave of being one of the first providers out there that allowed you to create kind of custom chatbots. And since then, we very much niched down into what kind of our ideal like business customer is, and the two main use cases, which is like customer support and then internal knowledge access for teams.
Great. And that sweet spot of customer, who is that at the moment?
Yeah, we vary a lot. Mostly it's SMBs. We do have some larger enterprise clients, like Sony is one that's using it for, it's their Japanese side of internet service provider. And so they're using it for customer support there. And they're using our APIs to implement it like transparently into their existing like support system.
Okay, great. And if you take us through a customer support example of a SMB, so for people listening, they get a better understanding. Unfortunately, we're video, so you can go and watch us on YouTube, but we haven't actually got any screen sharing.
Mhm.
We'll have a link at the end where you can go get a free month trial of DocsBot. But yeah, just take us through what's a couple of case studies to get us to really understand it.
Yeah, so we kind of have three main parts to our product. So first is making it easy to create and kind of we call it training your custom AI agent. So we have a lot of different like data connection sources. You can connect it to your enterprise data, your documentation, have it crawl your websites. Lots of different ways to kind of ingest that data as context for the AI to be able to give accurate answers. And then we provide ways that you can deploy that into your existing systems. So we have your classic kind of chat widget that you can embed on a website or into like your company portal internally, and that can be both like private and encrypted, or it can be public just for the general public to use. So that's a very simple way. And with that, we have built-in tools so users can escalate. So we found it very important when you're doing AI customer support that you don't ever give users a chance to get frustrated. So an AI is never going to be able to answer every single question. We often see like somewhere between 60 and 70% resolution rate out of the box from just a quick initial kind of training from people's documentation, depending on how well the documentation is and formatted and things like that. But those subset of answers that it can't give, we want to make sure that the AI can smoothly escalate to your existing like human support process. So we have tools and stuff to integrate that so it can pop up, for example, your live chat widget or pre-fill a ticket for you based on the AI conversation, things like that to handle that escalation. And then, and of course, you can integrate it using our APIs or things like Zapier, workflow automation tools. And we do have some native integrations as well, such as Slack and Microsoft Teams and things like that that are more geared towards internal. And then we provide all the tools on the back end to be able to kind of monitor like how your AI agent is performing, like what your users are asking, and over time how it's improving its resolution rates, its response rates, its ability to deflect escalations to human support.
Great. And, obviously most of the platforms have their sort of own versions. Agentforce is probably the best known for Salesforce.
Mhm.
Originally, it was very expensive. They continue to bring down the price of each instance. But why would, say, a SMB customer that's on Salesforce, why would they want to use DocsBot versus going with Agentforce?
Yeah, well, there's a few reasons. Cost is a big one that we hear. A lot of these platforms like Intercom or Salesforce, they can have like sometimes they have like per interaction pricing, results-based pricing instead of just kind of a flat monthly fee or whatever like we provide. Honestly, the value that we provide for some of our customers is crazy, considering how much it impacts like how much they need to hire their support or sales team and things like that. And then kind of the other factor beyond cost is flexibility instead of being integrated only into that system like Salesforce or whatever. And this is true for most of those providers. It's yeah, you can train it from your internal like knowledge base or something like that that's hosted on Salesforce or Help Scout or Intercom or whatever it is, but they might not have the flexibility to pull in data from Notion, pull in data from your Google Drive, crawl your website daily so it has the latest information, from your online sales, marketing content, all that kinds of things. So a lot of flexibility there and flexibility how you can deploy it. So you can deploy it in multiple systems, internally for your team, externally for users, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, great. And I know there's been a lot of discussion around text versus voice. At the moment, is it text only or is it text and voice?
Right now, DocsBot is just text-based, so kind of a chat-based interface. We've definitely have some like internal trials and stuff playing around with some of these newer voice models that have low enough latency for that. And that might be a direction we go down. Most of our customers really have not like requested that or have like a huge desire for that. Usually to implement something like that, it takes a lot more. You have to have kind of a voice pipeline in place, voice support already, and then you got to tie it into your phone system somehow and handle like very complex kind of custom flows. So it's hard to build like a SaaS platform that can easily like fit all those use cases, but we may add that in the future.
From an input perspective, with the bots on the website as an example, can people
Hmm.
talk? Can they use voice or text to get converted to text, or is it only text only?
Right now it's just typing, but we
Yeah.
definitely might add that like a little record button. This is my personal anecdote, and I think I've read some stats about that, is almost no one really wants to click that little button and record. Maybe if it's a mobile app or something like that, I could see that being much more useful. But on a website, people are not going to click that and set up their microphone to try to talk to do like a speech to text kind of thing step.
Yeah, yeah. I think being a podcaster, I'm probably more inclined to do that because I'm so used to talking. But yeah, I don't know. A lot
All
of
right,
people, yeah, a lot of
maybe we
people
do.
find it harder to organize their thoughts rather than text. But I'm not sponsored by it at any. Well, not at the moment. I'd love to be, but I use Super Whisperer, and that's brilliant of just converting anything. I just talk all the time now. I hardly ever type, but it
That's great.
converts it in
Yeah.
text.
I've been trying to transition to that habit myself. I just cannot do it. Like I see developers are doing the vibe coding and they're using just voice, and it just feels weird to me to speak out loud. Like that's not how I think as well as writing I do.
Yeah, well, I
We
think
do
from
have For like training our chatbots, we do have like media sources. So like you can add like a YouTube videos playlist. You could upload like your training videos or podcasts, audio files, and we'll transcribe that with AI and add it to the bot's training.
Yeah, brilliant. And I know that the other one that people might be thinking here is, well, ChatGPT, Gemini, like there's so much improvement in these platforms constantly. Right.
Mhm.
Will they have something like this, which will mean that I don't need a product like DocsBot? I suppose, what's defendable that's stopping these guys taking your business model at the moment?
Yeah, like when we first launched, that was a big fear for me as well. And it's kind of a classic thing you see like on X and conversations and stuff saying, oh, it's just a GPT wrapper, you know? But what we're kind of seeing now is like the people who are building the models and stuff, that's like the less defensible business. And it's the ones that actually like niche down and find like a specific niche and create like the tools, opinionated tools that are handling specific use cases like customer support or things like that. That's where you're getting the best results from AI. And you don't necessarily see like that direct competition. Like when ChatGPT announced their custom GPTs, which is where you can kind of train a like little custom chatbot, we thought, oh no, this is like the beginning of the end for us, right? But it actually turned out to be one of our best referral sources because it kind of introduced people to a new concept that, oh yeah, I can create like a little AI that knows a little bit about me or my business, you know, but then they say, okay, how do I deploy it? How do I look at logs and monitor how it's performing over time? Things like that. And those things don't exist. Yeah, there's definitely always that fear. And there's obviously like some competing products. A big one, Notebook LM from Google. It's a great
Yes.
AI product. It's definitely designed like for your internal, like personal use. So that does kind of eat into our use case as like a research kind of bot a little bit, but it still is less flexible than our platform from all the training sources and things.
And I suppose for me, it's a little bit misconceiving where it's got share. So the other day I did some research. I wanted to share it with someone that's got share. So I shared it to them. I thought,
Hmm.
oh, fantastic. And they're like, no, it didn't work. So,
Right.
yeah, like you said, it's great for internal, but to use it externally, it doesn't do it. Now, we talked about customer support. I suppose now we're talking about this internal knowledge base. So give us some
Hmm.
use cases of the internal knowledge base.
Yeah, well, most teams have, they have SOPs, they have huge amounts like internal kind of documentation or product information, huge databases of PDFs of like the specs and things like that. A use case that we found, especially for any business size really, but a lot of our like larger enterprise, they tend to use this even more, is having that kind of internal tool to access that knowledge easily. So instead of having to look up and search the whole Google Drive or whatever and find the right file and then dig through that, they can just ask a question and then their internal like AI agent for the team, it finds the answer and provides that to them along with the sources where it got it so they can link back and see all that kind of details. So it definitely is like a force multiplier for teams, internally and making it much easier to get access to those answers and information. And we'll see it used like in more creative ways too. So not just accessing that information, but actually using that to like do creative things. So for example, we have one client, we have a case study on our website. It's called JPA, and they're a agency that does marketing for like different like hospitals, drug brands, things like that in that whole medical field. They've trained up like I think, gosh, they have more than 100 different DocSpot agents that each one is trained on like all the information about this specific drug that they're marketing, all the information about this specific insurance plan, whatever that is, right? And then they'll use their dashboard. They've also used our APIs to like internalize it into their own systems. I'm not just actually sure where they did that, but I know that their team is using that all the time to write a tweet for me about this thing. So they're doing it for content generation. They're using it for all those kind of like marketing tasks. And we see people use it for sales too. So like sales and sales enablement teams. That's a huge problem where, someone's on a call, SDR's on a call or something like that, and they need to know information about that product quick or get a quick answer to the user while they're talking to them. And DocSpot is a great use case for something like that too.
And is it only internal that it's searching? I know that you said, on the customer service side, I can search your live website. With the
Mhm.
internal, is it only what's internal or does it also go to public sources as well?
Yeah, you can add anything. So you can add public data. You can add your private docs, whatever you want to add to it.
Yeah, great. So, it's if I look at Perplexity at the moment, Perplexity Labs, obviously I use to
Hmm.
search what's public. Effectively, what DocsBot is from a internal perspective, the way that I've sort of been using it is that it's sort of like
Hmm.
my second brain. It's like all of the knowledge. So if you ever wanted to ask a question and get the information at your fingertips, effectively
Yeah.
that's what you're providing.
Yeah, that's basically it for internal. And there are a lot, like even ChatGPT, they now allow you, depending on your plan, to connect like Google Drive or certain data sources like that.
Yes.
But it's still like a person by person basis. Here's where you can actually build that internal tool and customize the prompt and instructions and all that kind of thing, and then deploy that one time for all your team to use internally.
And who's typically, you talked about training the bot, right? Who's typically doing that? For example, would it be the tech consultant that's helping the client set that up? Is it you guys, or is it the client themselves that are setting it up?
Yeah, I mean, our platform is like fully self-service, so it depends if it's a business that signs up directly. Usually they have some staff member or whatever that's doing it. It's not like building some scary like workflow in Zapier or NAN or something like that. It's just connect and then choose which docs, or upload some files, drag them into the upload box or put in your website URL and then we go and crawl it for you. So we
Yes.
make it very simple. But yes, we do have a lot of customers who are agencies or consultants or things like that. And they'll resell our service in different ways. So maybe they'll have that business create their own DocsBot account and they help manage it for them, set it up and configure it and everything, but that client still has access to their dashboard and things like that. And then we have some that fully like white label and resell it, and they just say they don't even mention DocSpot. They just say, "Hey, we're building the solution for you, right? Custom built for you, and we're gonna integrate it into your help desk or whatever it is." And they'll use us to do that, and it'll be fully white labeled.
Yeah, brilliant. And I'm assuming this is a huge way to onboard new team members. I know that one of the key pain points, a sales partner, he was a Salesforce partner, but he came from large practices, sort of like 500 plus employees. And he said, the
Hmm.
amount of knowledge loss each time a new
Right.
employee came onto the project was enormous, and the client was paying for that effectively in the old model. I'm assuming this is going to help with handovers, onboarding of new team members. Have you
Yeah.
seen those use cases?
Yeah, that is a great use case onboarding. So obviously you can ask any question from all those details and get quick answers. So they don't need to figure out, okay, what portal, what document, what drive, whatever I need to look for this information. They can just get a quick answer with the source link pointing back to where it got the answer from. So that's a great use case. I've seen other ones like using it for like customer retention. So
Yes.
as part of the cancellation process, the user actually like talks to their bot, triggers like tools and things like that, and can provide like based on its training data, it can provide like resolutions on things to their objections before they actually fully churn.
Yeah, brilliant. And security, none of this we can go without talking about security. So, yeah, why is your product secure and give people peace of mind?
Yeah, of course, dealing with enterprise and businesses and stuff, that's one of the top questions. Probably the biggest one people ask is like, are you training off our data or questions,
Yes.
right? That's the big question people have. So we have that specifically in our privacy policy and agreement that no, we will never, and any provider we contract with, we make sure that that's an agreement we have with them as well, so that your data is never used for training or retained. And then of course we provide like all the tools like in our dashboards. You can easily delete all customer logs, all training data, anything like that at any time. And then we provide tools that for our customers. So like for example, you can set your agent to private or public. If it's private, then it can only be interacted with, via like either you're logged in the dashboard or you are authorized for all the API calls and things like that. And so we provide the tools for that so you can integrate it in your systems and keep it private and internal that way. And we also have like ways so you can generate like temporary signatures so that, for example, someone can use the chat widget like on an internal portal site, something like that. And so that it can integrate kind of with their single sign-on or whatever process like that to make sure the user is authorized to actually chat with the bot.
Fantastic. Well, look, I know as I said, we're going to, Aaron's kindly given a free trial for a month. All you have to do is go to paulhigginsmentoring.com/DocsBot. So that's DOCS and then BOT. And what I'll do is put that link in the show notes as well. But, I think it's a brilliant example. As Aaron said, a lot of the other key platforms, there's two key things I see. One is that they're expensive. So if you look at, the main SaaS platforms, and then the other one is the flexibility. I think they, don't have the ability to get all your knowledge, because we'd all love to have our knowledge perfectly architected and
Right.
structured, but the reality is that's never going to happen, right? So I think a
Hmm.
solution like this allows you to have your cake and eat it, which is brilliant. But what we're going to do
Yeah.
now is pause for a moment, thank our sponsors, and then we'll come back for the rapid fire. Brilliant execution, terrible strategy. You can solve any client problem, but you're stuck in the same revenue patterns, same deal sizes, same time for money trap. I'm Paul, and I built and sold a seven-figure consulting business, but here's what I've learned mentoring other consultants. The real breakthroughs happen when you combine my experience with live problem solving of people going through exactly what you're facing now. In my group program, Steve works through his VA delegation challenge with Jed. Jed shares what's actually working. Andrew tests his pricing strategy with Casey, and Casey demonstrates his client onboarding system. Everyone's figuring it out together with my guidance based on what I learned the hard way. It's not theory, it's real-time strategic thinking with consultants in the trenches plus someone who's already made the journey. Stop grinding alone. Start thinking strategically. Go to paulhigginsmentoring.com/WWM. That's paulhigginsmentoring.com/WWM. So, Aaron, ready for the rapid fire?
Yeah.
Let's do this. So the first one is, we've talked about AI, and obviously, DocsBot is definitely AI based. But what are some other, or one in particular AI tool that's really impressed you of late?
Yeah, well, probably most recently, I've been playing a lot with NAN, just building quick workflows and like mini AI agents. So I built plenty of AI agents, with our platform and also just with code, being a developer myself. Been playing around with that with more of like a workflow drag and drop kind of builder kind of thing. That's been kind of fun. Building some things. I really love like experimenting on the marketing side.
Yes.
So I'm kind of a developer originally, now founder. And so I just love like trying to automate everything, right? So
Yeah.
when it comes to marketing, which is not my skill set, AI has like been a huge unlock, not just for content generation, but like creating, image stuff, video, things like that. So
Yes.
been playing a lot with that. So one of my favorites is replicate.com. And
Yes.
that is just a ton of like mini APIs for different AI models. So everything from like VO3, like Google's video model that can do sound too, like Flux Context, which is a open image model that allows you to like edit images
Yes.
from prompts, which is
Yes.
pretty neat. And of course, fine tuning and all those kind of things. So I love just building tools that combine all that stuff.
Yeah, fantastic. And the next one is, of the lead sources that you've got through your marketing funnel, what's one that surprised you the most?
Yeah, well, I would say that probably some of our best customers or best leads actually come from like ChatGPT or Perplexity or
Yeah.
tools like that. They're chatting with the bot there, and asking for, and some of that ties into SEO and things like that, so that we're getting recommended as a solution to what they're asking. So that's actually a lot more valuable than just like pure Google or things like that, is because you're capturing like pure intent. Like it's only recommending that if that's what they really want and
Yeah.
need. One other, which is I think is fun, is SEO has changed so much. Like I saw like in the last 6 months, it's gotten another 3 times harder to rank or to get traffic from Google as their AI overviews and things like that. So kind of content-based SEO is like nearly dead, I
Yes.
think, in most cases.
Yeah.
And what we found that's worked really well for us is actually intent-based SEO is still really strong. You've heard of vibe coding, I'm
Yes.
sure, all
Yes.
the rage right now. And so I've got my son who's in high school, and I taught him, okay, you're not a developer yet, but you can vibe code, right? And
Yes.
I'll help him out if he gets stuck. And so he's built a lot of like free kind of AI tools
Yes.
as lead gen. We have like a whole free tools directory on our website. It's just like an AI tool for this use case, for this use case, trying to target like our ideal customer as much as possible. Obviously, we're casting a very wide net there, but we've managed to capture so much traffic that way by just creating these simple little one-page free tools that users they search for and they have huge intent, and they come to our site and they get satisfied right away, and then we can try to upsell them or get them in like a lead pipeline, to figure out if they're a potential customer.
Yeah, I remember Neil Patel, talking about this, 3 to 4 years ago, saying that this is the, forget your PDF lead magnet, it's got to be, but the way that you had to build them was costly and time
Yes.
consuming. Whereas now,
Hmm.
yeah, look, I built a brilliant assessment recently. It's really helpful to, you to understand what's missing, like it's
Yeah,
effectively, here's the blueprint, what's missing. Now, with Lovable, that took me, 15 minutes to do. It had uploaded my
exactly.
brand guideline, my image. It was like brilliant. Now that would normally have cost me, $4,000 to $5,000, taken me a month to do it with an agency, etc. Now it's a
Right.
15, 20 minute exercise. It's
Yeah, it's
outstanding. So yeah,
easier than ever.
yeah. I couldn't agree. And it's like anything, it'll have a diminishing curve because everyone will do it and it'll get saturated. But now's the time
Right.
for you to get ahead of the curve. The next one is where do you go to find out more information on marketing and how to drive the growth of DocsBot?
So probably the biggest one is I'm a Twitter or X addict, I think.
Yep.
And so I'm just always getting ideas and seeing like the things people are doing, like with marketing and sales and tactics like that. And podcasts too, on top of that. A lot of ideas from podcasts. Yeah, just always learning. You have to always be learning. And the world moves faster and faster. Gosh, marketing moves faster and faster, and it's just a war for attention. So you got to stay on top of that and always have fresh ideas and things like that too. And the good thing with AI is you can implement them and try them out faster than ever. Using AI tools, using automations, agents, things like that. You can give it a try and see if that works and
Yep.
move on to the next thing if not.
Yeah, spot on, spot on. The last one is, what do you know now, having created DocSpot, that you wish you had known earlier?
So we had kind of an interesting thing. I was a CTO of a company for like more than 10 years and thinking, okay, I need to use my skills to like build like my own business, my own product. And I knew I wanted to do SaaS, software as a service, because just the scalability there and disconnecting my time from the value that's created as much as possible. I actually built, gosh, we launched like 8 different products in
Yes.
6 months. Just seeing what would work, what could work. And this was as AI was just starting,
Yes.
so it was a good, I knew it was an amazing once in a lifetime wave to ride. And I still think we're at the beginning of it. There's still tons of opportunity there. This was the one that like really hit and really had like the best, like, targeting B2B and a
Yes.
real easy value sell, for businesses, because it saves them time, saves them money, and it's pretty obvious. It makes their customers happier. But back to the question of, I think what I would learn is I launched the same week as one of my bigger competitors, and he went viral, and we probably had the same amount of like X followers. So he went viral like on X and launched on Product Hunt right away. So I think
Yes.
the first in that category maybe to launch on Product Hunt. And I instead launched to like my existing like kind of user base. I created like a demo and a wait list and things like that. So I did do some things right. And he went viral in the US and I went viral in Japan of all places. So we still have a large percentage of our customers are actually Japanese businesses or consultants, which is interesting just because we had that initial kind of viral push from there. But boy, did they grow a lot faster, having it from the US. So I think I would have like launched faster, trying
Yes.
to catch that, be the first to catch that wave for sure. I thought I was launching fast, but still wasn't fast enough. I was short by a few days or weeks.
Well,
Yeah.
there's, sometimes the tortoise does beat the hare, so let's hope that's the case in this one. But reminder, you've been listening to Aaron Edwards, episode 631, and please go to the show notes, or you can just go directly to my website, paulhiggins.com/DocsBot, and you can get your free month. But, as I said, this is a great alternative twofold. One is for customer service for your end clients, where the platform play doesn't quite match, and especially in the not-for-profit space, I've heard a lot of people say that it's just too expensive, and this is a great option. But also,
Yeah.
and the same thing applies, same customer base, but this internal knowledge base, I think the flexibility that it gives is enormous. Yeah, try it and then recommend it to your clients. And like Aaron said, you can even white label it if that's an option you want to do. But Aaron, brilliant having you on today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Paul.
You've been listening to Aaron Edwards from DocsBot.ai on episode 631 of my podcast. Remember, your clients don't need another expensive platform that locks them into one ecosystem. They need flexibility to pull all of their knowledge sources and make it cost effective that actually delivers results. Whether it's handling support tickets or creating internal knowledge systems from your enterprise teams, DocBots gives you a competitive advantage, and you can also white label it, which is a great, straightforward option, and his pricing won't kill your clients' budgets. Don't forget to grab Aaron's free 1-month trial at paulhigginsmentoring.com/DocsBot. That's DOCSBOT. Perfect opportunity to test it with a client and see the 60 to 70% support deflection rates Aaron spoke about. I'll see you next time on the Paul Higgins podcast. If you've got value today, hit subscribe so you don't miss future episodes, and reach out. Let me know you've listened. I'd love to hear from you.